The day my parents threw me out of the house, they changed the locks before I reached the end of the driveway. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I simply picked up the 2 bags they'd tossed onto the lawn and walked away. They stood on the porch smiling, convinced they'd finally gotten rid of the family's biggest disappointment. They had no idea that within a few weeks, everything they owned would legally belong to me. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to love you the most, follow my story until the end. And while you're here, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. My name is Daniel. I'm 29 years old, and unlike my older brother, I was never the favorite. He dropped out of college 3 times, crashed 2 cars my parents bought him, and somehow every mistake became a phase. I earned scholarships, worked full-time, and paid every bill myself. According to my parents, that was exactly why I didn't deserve their help. "You're independent," my mother always said. My brother was special. I was replaceable. The final argument started over something almost laughably small. I asked if I could stay in the spare bedroom for 1 more month after my apartment building was damaged in a fire. My brother laughed. My father looked me straight in the eyes. "You've taken enough from this family." Before I could answer, my mother handed me 2 trash bags filled with my clothes. 10 minutes later, I was homeless. That night, I slept in my car outside a 24-hour grocery store, wondering how my own parents could treat a stranger better than their own son. Then, at exactly 8:17 the next morning, my phone rang. The caller ID displayed a law office I'd never heard of. The attorney's first sentence made my heart stop. "Mr. Carter, your grandfather left you something. And your parents have been trying very hard to make sure you never found out." I thought the call had to be a scam. I'd never been close to my grandfather. My parents always said he was bitter, controlling, and wanted nothing to do with me. Still, I wrote down the attorney's address. An hour later, I walked into a downtown office wearing yesterday's clothes after spending the night in my car. The receptionist smiled politely. "Mr. Carter. Mr. Harrison is expecting you." Inside, an elderly attorney stood and shook my hand. "I'm sorry for your loss. My grandfather passed away." He nodded. 3 weeks ago." I froze. No one had told me. Not my parents. Not my brother. No funeral. No phone call. Nothing. The attorney slid a thick folder across the desk. "Your grandfather updated his will 6 months before he died." I opened the first page. My name was listed first. Not my parents. Not my brother. Me? "I don't understand," I whispered. Mr. Harrison adjusted his glasses. "Your grandfather hired investigators years ago." "For what?" "To see how each family member treated one another." My stomach tightened. "He knew you worked 2 jobs to support yourself. He knew your parents repeatedly refused to help you while financially supporting your brother." Every word felt unreal. "He left detailed notes," the attorney continued. "He believed character mattered more than blood." Then he handed me another envelope. "This one is personal." Inside was a handwritten letter. "Daniel, if you're reading this, it means your parents never changed. I hoped they would. I was wrong." My hands trembled. The attorney wasn't finished. "There is one condition before the estate can be transferred." "What condition?" "You must attend the official reading of the will." "Who's going to be there?" He looked directly at me. "Your parents." Before I could process that, his assistant rushed into the office. "Sir, they are already here." Mr. Harrison's expression changed instantly. They weren't supposed to arrive for another hour. Then I heard my father's angry voice echo through the hallway. "Where is my son?" The office door swung open. My father stormed inside, followed by my mother and my older brother. The moment they saw me, all three stopped. Their expressions weren't filled with concern. They were filled with panic. "There you are," my mother said, forcing a smile. "We've been looking everywhere." It was the first lie. They hadn't called me once since throwing me out. I stayed calm. "I've been easy to find." Silence filled the room. Mr. Harrison broke it. "Since everyone has arrived, we'll begin the reading of Mr. William Carter's final will." My brother leaned back confidently. I could almost see him imagining the money. The attorney opened the document. "My residence, investment portfolio, and business shares shall not pass to my son or his family equally." My father's smile disappeared. "They shall pass entirely to my grandson, Daniel." The room went silent. "What?" my brother shouted, jumping to his feet. My father slammed his hand on the table. "That's impossible." Mr. Harrison calmly continued reading. "My decision is based on years of documented evidence showing that Daniel demonstrated integrity, responsibility, and compassion, while the rest of my family consistently rewarded selfishness and punished honesty." My mother burst into tears. "This isn't fair." The attorney didn't even look up. "There is more." He placed a flash drive on the table. "Your grandfather anticipated this reaction. He instructed me to play a recording if anyone challenged his decision." The video began. It showed hidden security footage from his home. For years, he had quietly recorded family visits. There was my brother demanding money. My father mocking me for working 2 jobs. My mother laughing as they discussed cutting me out of the family. Then came the final clip. It had been recorded just 3 days before my grandfather died. My father leaned toward him and said, "Don't worry, once you're gone, we'll make sure Daniel gets nothing." The room fell into complete silence. But Mr. Harrison looked at me and said, "That isn't the biggest surprise." He pulled one final sealed envelope from the file. "Your grandfather left one last instruction." And it had my name written across the front. Every eye in the room was fixed on the sealed envelope. Mr. Harrison handed it to me. This was to be opened only after the will was read. I carefully broke the seal. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Daniel, if you're reading this, then the truth has finally come out. I didn't leave you this inheritance because you needed money. I left it to you because I knew you would never let money change who you are." I paused for a moment before continuing. "The greatest test begins after you become successful. Never treat people the way you've been treated." The room was silent. Then Mr. Harrison spoke again. "Along with the house and investments, Mr. Carter also left you controlling shares in Carter Development." I looked up. "The company?" He nodded. "As of today, you're the majority owner." My father's face turned white. The same company he'd worked at for 25 years now answered to me. Over the following months, I made only one decision regarding my family. I didn't seek revenge. I simply let the law, and my grandfather's wishes, stand. My parents challenged the will in court, but every claim failed. The recordings, written notes, and legal documents made my grandfather's intentions unmistakably clear. My brother eventually sold the expensive car my parents had bought him to pay off his debts. My parents lost the home they could no longer afford. As for me, I restored my grandfather's house, expanded the business, and created a scholarship for hard-working students who had no family support. People often ask if I ever forgave my parents. The answer is yes. But forgiveness didn't mean giving them control over my life again. Sometimes, the greatest victory isn't proving people wrong. It's building a life so good that their betrayal no longer defines you. What would you have done if your own parents left you homeless, only for you to inherit everything they thought was theirs? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories.